that requires a lot of attention and something that a lot of people have very little knowledge about. We're talking about autism. So keep it right here on the Daily Report in the segment we like to call Insight tonight, as we talk about, first of all, what these women want to do in regard to autism, and indeed a little bit more about this very, sometimes mysterious condition. But with that out of the way, let's have a look first at the highlights. Despite a court order declaring it illegal, the strike initiated by the Kenya Medical Practitioners and Dentists Union on Thursday has left patients stranded in hospitals nationwide.
Kufika wanatuambia hawawezi mhudumia leo because daktari wako on strike.
Some doctors, however, did not participate in the strike. Pastor James Nganga of the Neno Evangelism Center appears before the Parliamentary Lands Committee to address the dispute surrounding the land on which his church is built.
Tukaenda tuka-apply tena. Wakasema unless now you pay 42 million.
And 4 police officers from Kiamashiri Police Station, along with 2 bar owners accused of selling deadly liquor that resulted in the deaths of 17 individuals in Kangai Village and Kandongu in Mwea West Sub-County, are now being charged with murder.
They shall each not interfere with any investigation that may be ongoing or may be commenced.
All this and more tonight on The Daily Report. Yes, indeed, all these and more tonight on The Daily Report. I would wish to say that it's my singular honor to present the news to you this evening. Please come along for the ride. And we begin with matters health. And as doctors officially begin their much anticipated nationwide strike, thousands of patients who visited various health facilities to access medical services have been left in agony. However, at the same time, some hospitals continued with the normal operations. Our reporter, Elizabeth Atieno, now paints a picture on exactly how this strike has crippled delivery of health services across the country.
Kenya's health sector is currently hanging in the balance as patients face hurdles accessing health services due to the doctors' strike that commenced on Thursday midnight. This was the situation at Coast General Hospital in Mombasa County. Hundreds of patients flocked the facility to access health services, but their efforts bore no fruits, with no doctor to treat them. On the other hand, doctors have found themselves in a state of dilemma as they opt to fight for the rights of medical interns.
Doctors here right now are stretching. They are doing not even 12 hours, others are doing 24 hours. Madaktari wengine kaunti zingine hata hawana off. Watu wanafanya tu kama kawaida.
A similar situation was witnessed at Meru Level 5 Hospital. Here, we find hundreds of patients thrown in a state of despair as they sought treatment which was not available. And as time went by, some patients were forced to leave the facility and seek services at private hospitals. One woman informs us she is battling anxiety, not knowing the fate of her ailing husband who was scheduled to have his surgery today.
Nilikuwa na mgonjwa ambaye ni bwanangu. Tulikuwa tumeambiwa tukuje admission aende theater kesho. Jana wakatupigia simu wakatueleza tukuje leo. Kufika wanatuambia hawawezi mhudumia leo because daktari wako on strike.
At the Bungoma Referral Hospital, a fleet of motorbikes are spotted at the main gate with cyclists waiting for patients to ferry. But for today, there are no passengers, a clear indication of the disrupted services at the facility.
Kama Bungoma County Referral Hospital, tuko na madaktari 37, but leo hivi ni madaktari 11 peke yake wameweza kufika kazini.
At Kiambu Level 5, nurses and clinicians have been left with the responsibility of looking after patients who visit the facility for the better part of Thursday, as doctors failed to turn up. Kiambu County Health CEC Elias Maina has expressed his concern on the strike, recounting how a patient in dire need of emergency services was left in agony, forcing him to recall the doctor in charge of the department.
Doctors have kept away from work today. Therefore, we have scaled down on the services that we are offering.
However, a sharp contrast was witnessed in Nairobi County, where a spot check conducted by TV47 shows how some public health facilities went about their normal operations. For instance, at Magathi Hospital, patients flocked the facilities as doctors pitched tent ready to treat the patients.
The strike was announced, then that court order was released a bit late. So perhaps those who are not or have not reported, most probably is because of that confusion.
The situation was not any different at Mama Lucy and Kenyatta National Hospital, where we spotted a long queue of patients who were able to access health services. As the push and pull between the Doctors' Union and the Ministry of Health intensifies, the worst hit are thousands of Kenyans in dire need of health services, as many amplify their voices to call for dialogue to tame the situation. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47.
Good people, where are you watching from? And where it is that you're watching from, what was the situation when it comes to health service delivery? Were you able to get services in hospital? Let us know. The SMS line is on your screen right now, 22047, as well as the other number that's for WhatsApp. The producers will put it over there, and I'll be able to sample it right here. Let me know. How did it affect you, and what did you witness wherever you're watching us from? In other news, President William Ruto has cited the price of the US dollar against the shilling, or rather the performance of the US dollar against the shilling, which went down last month after a sustained rise to an all-time high of 161 shillings as an indication of a stable economy. The president further defended his government's hike of several taxes and the introduction of new ones, reiterating that he seeks to control debt levels in order to foster the economy of this country, or rather to foster economic growth in this country. On the other hand, Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua promised to work with President Ruto to serve all Kenyans.
Mimi niliwaahidi ya kwamba mambo ya uchumi tutaisimamia sawa sawa. Na niliwaeleza ya kwamba hatuwezi kuendelea kuchimba shimo za madeni. Ni wakati mzuri wa sisi kama Wakenya to have a candid discussion amongst ourselves, a national conversation on whether we shall continue to expose our country to the risks of excessive debt or we must raise our own resources. And I am very proud of the people of Kenya. We have made a commitment that we are going to reduce on debts and we are going to build more on our own raising of revenue in Kenya.
Si mnajua siku mlichagua rais, mliona jina yangu hapo? Mliona picha? Si mliniandika kazi? Mkaniambia nimsaidie huyu rais? Hiyo ndio kazi mimi nafanya. Na kazi yangu ni kumlinda na kumkinga. Mimi natembea mbele, nikiona kama imewekwa shimo mbele yake, kazi yangu ni kufunika.
In other news, the Stoma World Kenya has launched its clinic at the Guru Nanak Hospital in Nairobi. It's in a bid to enhance treatment for thousands of Ostomates, I believe I'm saying that correctly, who are facing difficulties of colonoscopy services that were only offered at level 4 and 5 facilities. Stoma is a surgically opened hole, mostly in the abdominal wall, and the surgery is conducted on those with some problems in the gut. Therefore, the stoma acts as a diversion for waste, including stool and urine. This means that those with the stoma, popularly known as ostomates, are forced to attach the colonostomy bag, in the affected area, which collects the waste. However, the ostomates have continued to raise concern due to the scarcity of colonostomy bags, which, with those available at KEMSA allegedly being of poor quality. The new clinic seeks to encourage more ostomates to turn up for medical checkups.
That is what we do at Cape Media, and of course, specifically for this project, on behalf of the board of directors, the chairman, and of course the director of operations, I allude our steadfast support for Stoma World Kenya, and we promise you to be part of this whole journey till the end.
I'm happy to have you around, and it's a very humbling moment. It is with a great pleasure and honor that I stand for you today to mark the launch of our Ostomate clinic. For those unfamiliar, an Ostomate surgery is a surgical procedure that creates an opening in the body, or we call a stoma, for the discharge of bodily wastes. This procedure is typically performed when the normal body functions are curtailed by disease, accident, or any other form of injury. An ostomate refers then, therefore, to someone who such a procedure has been performed.
WK tirelessly works towards fulfilling its objectives. I would like to take a moment to acknowledge and applaud the members of Stoma World Board for their unwavering commitment. Their contribution have been pivotal in bringing us to the remarkable juncture. Additionally, I extend heartfelt appreciation to our partners.
Syria has generously provided us a totally free stoma clinic. We are not charging any rent whatsoever to Stoma World Kenya to have their clinic operational at Guru Nanak Hospital.
We have all heard about the testimonials from Ostomates. It's very heartening, and we need more awareness and clinics, as mentioned by previous speakers. I can only say that both East African Ramgarhia Board and Guru Nanak Ramgarhia Sikh Hospital will give our full support to Stoma World Kenya in future.
And still on matters health, the question on many Kenyans' lips is this: is a doctor's strike actually on? In counties such as Mombasa, Nakuru and Nyeri, medical services have been suspended. However, in the cities of Nairobi and Kisumu, it's business as usual. What's going on? This is a tale that involves moving pieces such as the KMPDU, that is the union, the Cabinet Secretary, Susan Nakhumicha, Azimio leaders, and even the Labour courts, all on the chessboard, all moving at the same time, as Kisewa Emery explains.
Solidarity forever.
The Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Dentists Union insists that a doctor's strike started at the stroke of midnight today. However, a spot check by TV47 nationwide revealed a surprising result. Medical services in certain counties, such as Mombasa and Nakuru, have been suspended, but in Nairobi, Kenyans are still accessing medical services. The doctors say that they are striking because their demands have not been met despite numerous meetings with the ministry. The doctors' demands are: 1. The immediate posting and payment of medical interns. 2. The refund of the deducted housing levy after it was declared unconstitutional. 3. The stoppage of recurrent salary delays. 4. Temporary contracts of all county doctors to be converted to permanent and pensionable terms. 5. The comprehensive medical insurance coverage to all union members. And finally, the adequate funding of the health sector. This was a list of demands that was issued by KMPDU leadership 1 week ago, contrary to which the doctors would go on strike. However, the negotiations came to naught. Yesterday, a day before the strike was set to begin, Azimio came out swinging, with National Assembly Minority Leader Opiyo Wandayi demanding for the resignation of Cabinet Secretary Susan Nakhumicha.
If the Health Cabinet Secretary is not able to make the National Treasury release funds for a critical ministry like hers, then she has no option but to quit.
And with the strike only hours away, the Cabinet Secretary's efforts to salvage the situation were saved by the Employment and Labour Relations Court that suspended the doctors' strike. This is where the confusion comes in, with KMPDU insisting that the strike is still on as the union has not been served with the order. But hospital administrations in various hospitals insist that all services are still available to the public.
It's true. The strike, according to the union, kicked off last night, midnight. But we also it was brought into our notice also a court order from the Employment and Labor Relations Court that the strike, the stay orders, and therefore doctors are expected to be on duty. And for that reason, also our clients are informed. And that's why you can look around and see they are still coming and they are still being attended.
Eyes will now be firmly set on the Ministry of Health on a way forward to handle this issue. Kisawa Emory reporting for TV47 at Mama Lucy Kibaki Hospital, Nairobi.
Right, embattled Kisii Deputy Governor Robert Monda is expected to know his fate any minute from now in an impeachment motion filed against him before the Senate. Monda testified earlier today before the Senate, delivering a scathing account of how Governor Simba Arati has allegedly undermined his role as Deputy Governor, even conducting official county duties at his private residence. Monda vehemently denied the allegations leveled against him, claiming that his impeachment is politically motivated. Let us now cross over to the Senate and listen in.
I've just one small concern that is disturbing me. Yesterday, a video was played here of a very, very poor lady who makes her living, who ekes out her living by selling mutura, accusing you of having taken money from her. And there were many others who came up. But I'm taking that particular one because it's the one that seems to have evidence that it was made at the public participation, during a public participation forum. What would be your response, or did you have a chance to respond to that allegation? Because for me, for somebody poor claiming that you took so much from her, is a very, very painful experience for me. And that for me is one thing that's going to guide my decision.
Madam Speaker, the clips that were played in this House, the Honorable House will notice that all of it ran around the bursary that I have been soliciting for bribes to give people bursaries. Bursaries in counties have committees that run bursaries and not the Deputy Governor. Madam Speaker, you get a report of Kisii. The last bursary given was, in the last financial year, was 3,000 shillings per student. What kind of sense would it make if you get a parent bribing a deputy governor 12,000, 20,000 to get 3,000? Does it make economic sense?
We shall keep you up to date on that story. Please just keep an eye out on our socials. We'll update you on what the Senate actually decides. In other news, 4 police officers from Kiamashiri police station and 2 owners of the bars that allegedly sold deadly liquor that killed 17 people at Kangai village and Kandongu area in Mwea West sub-county are now facing murder charges. This is after a medical examination and mental assessment was done as directed by the court. Francis Mutethia, Alan Kyalo Kimanzi, Brian Kariuki, former Kiamashiri Officer Commanding Station or OCS Kennedy Mugambi, John Mureithi, the owner of the California Bar, his brother Anthony Muthe, and the owner of Muiguru Bar at Kandongu, Lydia Wanjiru, all appeared before the Kerugoya High Court, where they denied the charges leveled against them before Judge Justice Richard Mongo.
Other conditions applicable to their release on bond are as follows. They are each barred from interfering or engaging in any way, personally or by proxy, with witnesses, from engaging in any way, personally or by proxy, with witnesses. They shall each not interfere with any investigation that may be ongoing or may be commenced. C, they shall each ensure to report to the DCIO Kiamashiri Police Station, Mwea West.
Right. Or have you remember that that particular case is one that captured the horror of the nation when 17 people died, all in one area, all from having drunk the same batch of alcohol, all from the same 2 bars within the same area. And of course, we shall be letting you know what happens in that story, alongside a much broader effort by the national government in fighting cases of illicit brew and consumption of the same. In other news, following a rising number of murder cases at the short-term lease facilities, which has caused a stir among Kenyans, the government has announced plans to implement new measures targeted at protecting residential units and short-stay facilities, such as the Airbnb rentals. During a cabinet meeting chaired by President William Ruto on Wednesday, it was ordered that all common spaces of short-term rental homes be equipped with CCTV cameras for safety measures. Mike Kagwongo with the details.
In order to safeguard residential units, hotels and short-term lease facilities, the government has declared its intention to impose new regulations. According to a meeting presided over by President William Ruto on Wednesday, the short-term stays residences should keep closed-circuit television CCTV cameras in all common spaces. The administration of these establishments must also guarantee the preservation of CCTV camera recordings, which can be accessed whenever necessary. They must also keep an up-to-date register backed up by the appropriate identification documents, recording the confirmed identities of everyone coming into and going out of the building. A current and accurate log of all cars, rickshaws and motorcycles arriving and leaving the property must be kept, as per directive from the Cabinet to the administration of short-term lodging facilities. The Cabinet has also decided that lodging facilities, residential apartments and Airbnb rentals must keep a security occurrence book in which major incidents and noteworthy events pertaining to the daily safety and security of residents, visitors and service providers are documented. According to Dr. Martin Koyabe, an ICT expert, the biggest challenge is when national security is used to infringe data protection and privacy of citizens.
The biggest challenge that I see in this area is how national security, which is what this policy intends to enhance, is used or infringes on data protection and privacy of the citizens. Responsible governments around the world get a balance by imposing very, very, very severe penalties when either a government or an agency working with the government or even a private entity misuses this information.
Dr. Koyabe says this is near impossible to achieve in Kenya today.
The collection and, of course, storage of this information will mean that many of the data collectors will be responsible squarely on how they treat that information because it is a private information that belongs.
Now, Interior CS Kithure Kindiki has ordered the closure of the double artisanal mining sites within Golbo Division in Marsabit County. In a Kenya Gazette notice which was published on Wednesday, CS Kindiki declared the areas as disturbed and dangerous, issuing vacation orders. This is after clashes between rival gangs of miners led to 7 deaths. The area has been dominated with armed criminals facilitating the trade of narcotics, while 7 people, including 2 aliens, were killed this week in gang rivalries among the illegal artisanal miners on site. Kindiki's order was effective today from 6:30 p.m. and it shall remain in force at all times, but it may be terminated, withdrawn, varied, continued or otherwise altered as the Cabinet Secretary for Interior and National Administration may direct.
Ningetaka kusema ya kwamba kuna ile migodi ambayo iko hapa Isiolo. Na katika ile migodi mingine kule Kom, kuna watu wakora wamejificha huko. Nataka kuamrisha kamati ya usalama ya region siku ya Jumatatu iende pale COM ifanye tathmini ya kiusalama ili kuhakikisha kwamba sehemu hile iko salama, na kama iko salama tutaifunga vile tumefunga kule Dabel. Kule Dabel kumekuwa na mauaji ya watu zaidi ya 7 siku 2 zipitazo. Wengine ni watu pale wengi kutoka mataifa jirani, wengine kutoka sehemu zingine, wengine ni wakora, wengine walikuwa wanauza bangi, na leo tumetangaza kufungwa kwa migodi ya Dabel, and it is going to be the same for any other place within the territory of Kenya which is harboring criminals.
Equip Africa College in Kitale has organized a blood donation drive which involved students and the institution's administrators with various stakeholders in the health sector, a situation that has been mentioned to be of great importance considering many health centers in this area are witnessing the lack of blood. On his part, the manager of Equip College, Kitale branch, Pete Njenga, said that the program gives all students the opportunity to fully participate in important medical services.
As a country and as a world, we are experiencing challenges of health-related programs. Kidney problems of late has become one of the challenges and is affecting the lives of many. So as an institution, we thought it wise to partner with the community and various partners whom we work with to recognize the World Health Kidney Day. And that's why we decided to partner with the county government and also the other hospitals and the other institutions to promote and give back to the society.
Kwamba kama mnavyojua hiki chuo chetu kinahusiana na masuala ya afya, na hata katika masuala ya afya tunajukumika pia kuhamasisha wanafunzi wetu kwa watu wa kujitolea. In other words, we are supposed to inculcate